Hi folks, RAYDVD here on the Movie Reviewers 100 channel again. This week we have a sort of segue from last week. We had Sissy Spacek. This week we've got her mother from the film Carrie, the original, and it is Piper Laurie. The film I want to speak about is the 1961 classic, The Hustler. Now, when I was younger, I was into the old time movies and that, and I was trying to see as many of them as I could when I was younger. And this was a film that I could never ever manage to actually get a copy of VHS. I can't remember if I had it on VHS tape, but it never got shown on TV, and it was only eventually through DVD that I managed to see it. I read the novel when I was younger. Walter Tevis wrote the novel in 1959. Fantastic novel as well. And then they made the film in 1961. It was directed by Robert Rossen. And the basic plot is Paul Newman plays Fast Eddie Felsen, who is a small-time pool hustler. He's travelling across country with his pal Charlie, his partner Charlie, to build up enough money to play the fantastic Minnesota Fats, played by Jackie Gleason. Minnesota Fats is the best pool player in the country, and Eddie wants to be the best player now. So the first confrontation between Minnesota Fats and Fast Eddie, we see them, Eddie's all brash, the exuberance of youth and that, and he knows he can beat him, and he beats him time and time again. The game lasts something like 24 hours, but eventually, this game's still going on. Eddie takes to the booze and he's revelling in it and stuff, and then if Fast Eddie sees that Fast Eddie's no glorifying it, and he sees a weakness in the guy's character, so he just keeps on saying play him, and eventually he beats Fast Eddie. So Fast Eddie, it's like he crawls away to the bus station, and he breaks up with his partner Charlie. He just says get rid of him, they have a bust up and stuff, and then he comes across the Piper Laurie character Sarah at the bus station, and then he's got no money, he's got no place to live, and all he's thinking about is getting enough money to play Minnesota Fats again. So they hook up, and it's a sort of bit of a convenience. They're both hustling each other. They both see that they're sort of wounded characters. Sarah is a cripple, and she's got a weakness for the drink. Eddie, she can see in Eddie he's got troubles and stuff as well. She doesn't know what the troubles, what's his sort of story is. So they hook up together, and then he comes across Minnesota Fats manager, played by George C. Scott, Bert, and Bert says, no, you'll always be a loser, Eddie, and stuff, but then he takes him under his wing and he teaches him how to be a winner. Takes a huge stake and a huge cut in the money that Eddie is going to be making to build himself up again, So we see the dynamic of these two characters. George C. Scott is like this sort of snake or a leech. He's just like, he picks on all these people that have got these talents and that, and he just wants to suck them dry. So eventually, the Sarah character realises that Eddie's selling his soul to the devil, and then there's some absolutely fantastic scenes in this film. There's the scene where Paul Newman's playing a game of billiards, and he's getting beaten there, and Sarah says, no, look at these guys, they're wearing masks, this isn't who they are, they've lost their soul. And Eddie just sort of brushes her aside and that, and then eventually she commits suicide just to teach Eddie a sort of lesson or something, just to show what Bert is capable of. He manipulates people, and it's just for his own end and stuff, and he realises the weakness in people and stuff. Eddie sort of realises this, he doesn't want to be a part of what Bert is or what his environment is. He comes back and then he plays Minnesota Fats, and he beats him and he beats him and he beats him, and he's a changed man. But Bert at the end of the film says, he'll never play big time pool in any of these places again. I'll make sure that you never play pool at any sort of level at all. And that's the sort of the arc of the story and stuff. There's loads of stuff in this film. It was up for 9 Academy Awards, I believe, in 1961. It won 2. It won Best Art for a black and white film, and also won Best Cinematography for a black and white film. Newman was up for an award, George C. Scott, Jackie Gleason, Piper Laurie, they were all up for awards, but the film at that time that was the majority of them was West Side Story, which was a huge contrast to The Hustler. You know, I was just watching a couple of documentaries about The Hustler there, and the film historian was saying at the time, classic Hollywood, it was all about winners, you know. You couldn't show an anti-hero, and this is one of the first films that you've seen the anti-hero. The main hero type is actually a loser, you know. He's a weak guy, he's got his insecurities and stuff, but the social realism that Robert Rossen shows in this film, he was known to make black and white films. They could have made this in colour, but he was more comfortable shooting in black and white, and it just gives it that more gritty sort of social realism look to the film. And different things like, you know, films at that time were big epic Hollywood films like West Side Story, but this was made like a TV movie almost, and it was the historian explained that the credits at the beginning of the film were like a prologue to the actual movie, so that it'd be seen. Yeah, and it wasn't even like a normal prologue where you would get a bit of the story at the beginning. The prologue actually showed you segments throughout the film how the story was going to appear in the actual film, and this was all a new way of storytelling. In the actual film, there's 5 pool games, and Robert Russen's he structured these so that the 5 pool games. The first game you see him, Eddie's the hustler. You know, he's the glint in the eye guy, you know, and you see him at the top of his game, you know, he's just starting out in his journey, and then through the various bits in the film, his character is developing right to the final pool game, where his character has evolved, and he's become a man of no hustler with little morals and stuff. Now he's a man of integrity and self-actualization and awareness, and it's fascinating to see how they've actually structured this film. In the film we had Paul Newman as Fast Eddie, absolute magnificent actor. He was 35 years old at the time, and he was just becoming the huge movie star that he became, and he was from like the method style of acting. You know, you had I can't remember the names. You had the Stanislavski methods style of acting, but there was Paula and I can't remember the boys' names, but they were the guys that like all the actors, all the up and coming actors would go to their acting classes at the time. Then we had Sarah, played by Piper Laurie. She was 28 years old at the time. She'd already been Oscar nominated. I can't remember the film she was Oscar nominated in. We had Minnesota Fats, who was played by Jackie Gleason, who was a huge, I think he was in a TV sitcom at the time, and he was a well-known comedian, where he was exuberant, you know, and he was always laughing and smiling and stuff. Whereas in this film, he was the total opposite. He played Minnesota Fats, very stillness, immaculately done, and this played it pure sort of internal, fantastic acting. And then we had Bert, played by George C. Scott, who was, I believe this was his 3rd film, and he was really he was like a snake or a leech sort of character. You know, he's like one of these guys that you didn't want to get too close because you'll get burned for him. And just 4 absolute amazing actors in it, and then you've got all the character actors that played the sort of minor parts. These were all seasoned pros, and they were all sort of contributed to the actual film. The film, it was shot entirely in pool halls. You know, there was hardly any actually movie sets in it. Obviously the apartment where Sarah and Fast Eddie lived, you know, that was filmed in a New York soundstage, I think. But all the rest, all the pool halls are genuine pool halls. So really, really a good film. Like I say, I read the Walter Tevis novel 20 odd years ago, and I just fell in love with the actual the book. And then when I seen the film was absolutely even better than the novel was. So that's my review of The Hustler. If you haven't seen it, I recommend, because this is one of the all-time top films that you'll ever see, for cinematography, for directing, for acting, for script, everything. This is the peak of what a film should be. So thanks for watching, and look out for the rest of the boys' reviews during the week. And please subscribe and leave some comments on our new Facebook page. Thanks again.